Hey YouTubers, I'm here to talk. I haven't done one of these in a while. I'm here to talk to you about another deck that I've been running the last 2 weeks in the standard format. It's called Blue White Flash. It's been really successful. I've won the last 2 weeks in my meta, first place in top 8. It's a great deck in the format. It just has a few decks that are problematic, but that's what sideboards are for. So let's get into it. First of all, we're running 7 lands. 7 islands, I mean. Next we have 3 plains. There's a total of 21 lands, I believe, or 22. Next we have 4 Glacial Fortress and 4 Hallowed Fountain. We have 1 Ghost Quarter, which I'll explain later, and 2 Moorland Haunts. Moorland Haunts are just great for making blockers if you need them later game, or just making great cards to equip stuff to later game once your board's been wiped or what's ever going on. Now let's go into instants and sorceries. We got 4 unsummons. They're great against the green-white aggro because they're just turn 1 they play like some kind of Mandor, keeping return to their hand so they don't get that Smiter or Silverblade Paladin out. Turn 2, which is really problematic. It's also really good because it can return Loxodon Smiter to its owner's hand because it can't be countered, and it's just one of those problematic cards with this deck. Next we have counters. I have 4 Syncopate. I was only running 3, moved it up to 4 because a lot of the aggro in my meta, and if it's turn 2 and they're playing down some Gravecrawler or something that's taking up 2 of their mana, or they're using their last mana, I can just tap 2 mana and counter the spell. Plus it's exile, which is great for those Gravecrawler zombie decks. Next we have Dissipate. This is 3-0, which is great late game, just for countering a spell for 3 mana and it gets exiled. It's great against Reanimator, Fright decks with Angel of Serenity and Thragtusk. Next we have 3 Essence Scatters. It's another one for the aggro decks. It's 2 mana to counter target creature spell, which is just great. Last, my personal favorite counter spell in the deck is Rewind. It's 2 and 2 islands to counter target spell and tap up to 4 lands, which is just stupid good. Because you can just counter target spell, counter spell they have, untap your lands, and throw down a Restoration Angel if you really want to. Next, we have 2 Detention Spheres for token decks. Junk tokens in my meta is just a pain in the ass to deal with. That's one of the ways to deal with it. Next we have 3 Think Twice for drawing spells. It's a great card for turn 2, just to throw down, just in you get nothing else, and they have nothing to counter, to draw a card, get you ahead a little bit. Next we have 3 Thought Scours, which allows me to dump cards into my graveyard and draw a card for 1 mana on turn 1, which is great because feeding the graveyard in this deck is really nice because it powers up your artifact, Runechanter's Pike, and it also lets you get this stuff with Snapcaster Mage. Last, my personal favorite drawing spell, Sphinx's Revelation. This is such a powerful card in the format right now. Just gain X life and draw X cards. I mean, late game, it's just a game saver for you get to draw into more counters and some rush creatures, hopefully. It just saved me quite a few games. It's really useful. Next, we move into the creatures. We have 4 Restoration Angels, which is really nice because you can flash it and then do the return and attack on yours with it. It's flying and lets you flash a creature, which is really useful with all the creatures in this deck. Next, we have Augur Bolas, which is when he enters the battlefield, you look at the top 3 cards, you can put an instant or sorcery from one of those 3 into your hand. You have to reveal it. He runs really nice with Restoration Angel. If I have 4 lands, obviously in the return I flash him. Get to look for some more counter spells for free. Next for creatures we have 4 Snapcaster Mage, which also runs really nicely with the cards, the Restoration Angel, because I can bounce him and it gives target spell in my graveyard. Instant or sorcery spell in my graveyard, flashback. It's just really great overall. I mean, it's one of the best cards for blue, one of the better cards in blue right now. And last we have our for artifacts. We have 3 Runechanter's Pike, which is Cryptic Creature gets first strike and +X +O for where X is the number of instants and sorceries in your graveyard. It's 2 to play and 2 to equip, which is really nice. It's not that expensive. Runs nice with Moorland Haunt. You can make a spirit if something's in your creatures in your graveyard from milling yourself with Thought Scour and equipped it, and it just swings for massive amounts of damage because there's just a crazy number of instants and sorceries in this deck. That's the main ideal of this deck, is to counter everything, not allow them to, not give them much leeway. Get your Angel in, or your, even if you equip to a Snapcaster or Augur, and not allow them to have anything on the field by bouncing stuff and flashing it back, or countering everything, or exiling it, or whatever you gotta do. You're gonna have 5 or 6 instances and sorceries in your graveyard by the time you equip a Pike, and you're swinging for like 7 or 8 damage. After you get the Pike out and equipped it, it's pretty much game. But that's the main deck that this deck has trouble with, though, because of all the counters and stuff, is humans, because they run Caverns. That's why I run 1 Ghost Quarter main board, and another one I do believe in my sideboard, which is over here. I'll get to that in a minute, but that's the main deck that I have trouble with, is humans, due to the fact that the Cavern just allows them to make their humans uncounterable, and green-white aggro is just a pain with that card. So, got on 1 Ghost Order. Next, we're going to move on to the sideboard. First, I have 2 Supreme Verdicts, which is great for mirror matchups. If they're countering all my spells and they got some angels out, and they're just a real big problem, then Supreme Verdict, they can't counter it, just wipes the board, gives me a fresh start. Next, we have 4 Terminus, which is for aggro decks. Just puts everything at the bottom of the library if I miracle it for 1. Just pretty much sums itself up. Great for aggro, great for just overall board wiping. Doesn't allow, like, Frights and Reanimator decks to put cards in their graveyard to bring back again. It just gets rid of them. Next, we run 1 Drogskol Reaver for those decks that are just like control versus control. I picked Drogskol Reaver mostly because of the fact that there's not that much removal for him. There's a decent amount of removal, but he's pretty hard to deal with, and just attacking with him supplies you with 2 card draw, like to draw 2 cards and then gain 6 life. Or if he's equipped to the Pike, it gets pretty crazy. Next, we have 3 Knight of Glory. Protection from black, pretty much exalted, sums itself up more or less for the zombie matchups. Next, we have 2 more Detention Spheres for junk tokens that are just flying out, the tokens that are flying everywhere, getting rid of their Thoracic Tusks and whatnot. We have 2 Rest in Peace for Reanimator, Frights decks. Exiles everything in their graveyard. Doesn't benefit me that much because it exiles everything in mine, but if I have to use it, I have to use it. And last, we have 1 Ghost Border, just to deal with the Caverns. I'm debating whether I might run another one. I don't know yet. I don't know how much longer I'll play this deck for, but I'm really enjoying it, and I hope you guys try it out and like it too. Please comment and like. Feel free to subscribe. Thank you.